with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jedley. Welcome to Reading with Your Kids. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so very honored and so delighted that you're joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. And I tell you, we have a really fascinating guest for you today. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show and let them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, wherever you find your favorite shows. We have 4 wonderful guests, 3 amazing kids, and a mom, an amazing mom. Our first guest is Orion Jean. He is a young man who wrote a wonderful book called Race to Kindness, and that's just the start of the amazing things that this guy is doing. We then meet May and Kalili Powers. They're here to celebrate their beautiful book. It's called It's Not That Spicy. And to top off our show, Amelie Anastasia will be here to celebrate Foxtails. An ancient prophecy, a giant quest, a plethora of hominins. 13-year-old Toby Baxter is in a foul mood, stuck in the middle seat on an 8-hour flight with mice and men as his only company. But everything changes when he's summoned back to River Home. Now he's in the middle of a giant uprising linked to his former arch-nemesis, Clygon. Toby must repair the sword, the lifeblood of River Home. Battling rebel giants, trolls, and a primeval snake, Toby's vacation becomes an epic adventure. Will his foul mood sidetrack him, or will he embrace his call to be a hero? Filled with humor, tongue-in-cheek dialogue, and heroic life lessons, Aloha, River Home, The Good Prophecy is a magical journey for middle schoolers and fantasy lovers alike. Dive into the latest quest in the adventures of Toby Baxter, Book 3, written by Tim Wright. It's now available. Grab your copy and embark on a mesmerizing adventure today. Visit your favorite bookstore or order online. Don't miss out on Toby Baxter's next thrilling adventure. Join us right now from the Lone Star State of Texas. Our guest is here today to celebrate, not only celebrate his book, but celebrate kindness. Please welcome to the show the author of Race to Kindness and a very special young man, Orion Jean. Hey, Orion, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm delighted to have you on the show. I mentioned that you're a young man. I guess we're not supposed to ask people their age anymore, but I'm going to ask you. I'm old, so I can break the rules. Orion, tell everybody how old you are, please.
Yes, I am 13 years old at the moment. 13 and a half. 13,
and that when you're 13, those halves are important.
Yes.
When you're almost 100 like me, we don't count the halves anymore. We just, kind of count backwards. Tell me all about Race to Kindness, please.
Yes, my new book, Race to Kindness, just came out a couple of weeks ago. So I'm very excited about that. It is about a young boy who uses the power of kindness to really inspire his community. And it's really the message that I hope people take away from the book. It's that kindness is something that, transcends everything, including age, and that anybody can make a difference. And, it all started a long time ago, but I'm sure we'll talk about that later. So I'm just super excited to see this, come to life and, seeing the book in people's hands, getting to sign it and, seeing people saying that they were inspired by it. So it's been a great couple of weeks.
So I know people are out there listening to this and they're saying, yeah, there's no way this kid's 13 and a half, because it sounds like I'm talking to somebody who is 35, 40 years old. All this wisdom, where did you get this poise and wisdom at such a young age?
Um, I don't know. I wouldn't call it wisdom yet. I mean, I am still 13, but I've been grateful enough to have the opportunity to just kind of grow up in an environment where, my words were important, and that has always been, it's been cultivated, especially by my love of literacy. So I've been, growing up and adding different words to my vocabulary, putting things in the back of my brain that I want to use later. I've always been fascinated by, learning new things, and I wanted to kind of just add them in so that I can always, present this, air of like curiosity and just wanting to be able to constantly be learning new things and, growing, even at an early age.
Well, I know we're, only a couple of minutes into our friendship here, but I have to disagree with you, because the message that you're sharing with us, especially this message of kindness, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news or anything, but it seems like there are an awful lot of grown-ups in this country who don't seem to be able to agree to disagree and just be able to show the kindness and respect that every human being deserves.
Yeah, I get it. Look, I mean, I can't lie and say that I've never been caught up in the heat of a moment of an argument either, and, not always been kind. But for me, that's the thing that brings me back, just knowing that kindness is something that can really have just as much of an impact as not being kind. So when I think about going into a certain conversation, I know that I want to have a positive impact on the person's life who I'm conversating with, instead of, a negative impact that could possibly make their day worse or their week worse, or, just their life worse in general. So kindness is something that's important to me, because I've always been able to think about the impact that, even the smallest conversation can make.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir here, my friend. I absolutely agree with you. And, one of the things that I've discovered in my almost 100 years here on Earth is, if you go in to a discussion or an argument or whatever, and you fist her up and you're not going to change anybody's mind. All you're going to do is make that person fight even harder to prove that they're right, as opposed to just listening and sharing and treating people with kindness. A lot of times those folks will walk away and think, oh, maybe he has something there. Maybe I'll take a different look at that perspective.
That's the goal, just finding that common ground.
Yeah. So who are we going to meet in the book? Tell me about this young person with superhero powers.
Well, he is based on me, so I was very kind of ecstatic. It was weird seeing myself in like cartoon form, but there are a lot of characters in there who are inspired by, my family. For example, there's a character in there who is based off of my little brother, who is, 7 years old. So he's in the book as well. If you look hard enough, you'll be able to see him. My dog, his name is Tough. He's also depicted in the book, but he's purple in the book, not in real life, I promise. But it was just really surreal getting to see all of that come to life, because, the book process, the writing process started a couple of years ago. So seeing it go through so many different phases and stages, and then seeing it come to life at the end the way that it did is truly surreal to me, even to this day.
Yeah. So you started writing this book at 11 years old. What, A, was the inspiration for that? And B, where did you come off thinking, hey, I'm only 11. I'm old enough to write a book?
Yes. Well, it started a long, long time ago, because I've always loved writing and I've always loved books. But with the idea for the book specifically with kindness, it started in 2020. Oh my gosh, which is crazy to think about, just during the height of the pandemic, when everything felt like it was crashing down around us. And I was offered the opportunity to join a speech contest by my teacher at the time, who I am still friends with today. She believed in me, even though I had never done anything related to public speaking before, and she recommended me for a speech contest about kindness. And in that speech, I end it with the phrase, join me in the race to kindness, because the best part is everybody wins. And if you look at that speech in the book, you will be able to see so many different parallels of examples and ideas that have really grown since then. And after the speech, I started my own organization called The Race to Kindness, which was also the inspiration for this book. So, I felt like throughout the projects that I've done, which included, donating 500 toys to a local children's hospital, 100,000 meals to those in food deserts, and over 500,000 books to those in underrepresented communities, I felt like I had a lot to say about the idea of kindness, and I wanted more people to be able to see the true power that it can have and the true impact that it can make on other people's lives. So it was definitely something that had always been in the back of my mind, but when I was approached by Zondervan to write the book, it was an idea that I was happy to be able to really bring to life.
This is amazing, and people are recognizing you. I understand that you were named Time Magazine's Kid of the Year. Am I right about that?
Yes, sir, I was.
Yeah. How was that? How did that feel?
It was and still is truly surreal to me. Like, to this day, sometimes I can't believe that it actually happened, but yes, I was entered into the competition by somebody else. I was recommended, and it was when I got in, I didn't really think I had a chance because there were so many other kids who were and still are doing amazing things in their community, many of whom that I'm still friends with today because of the competition. But it was just amazing to see my name mentioned among those who were doing such great things for their community. And the fact that it gave me a larger platform to be able to continue spreading the message of kindness was, again, surreal and an experience that I will forever be grateful for. So it was a great experience all around.
That's really wonderful. You are a very impressive young man, and it's obviously that you're talented and it's just wonderful speaking to you. But I'm guessing you weren't able to do all of this by yourself. You must have a pretty important and pretty talented support team behind you.
Absolutely. I have to give all the credit for that one to my wonderful family, my mom, my dad, my little brother. And, even though sometimes he leaves a lot of poop around the backyard for me to clean up, my dog helps too.
Oh, my goodness. I thought you were going to say your little brother leaves poop
around
the... Oh, my goodness. No. Oh.
No.
I have to listen more carefully.
No, my family has been great through this entire process, and they were really the ones who inspired me to do this, because after the speech contest, when we were thinking about how I was going to use the prize money I had received from the contest, I wasn't really sure that I had the capacity or the ability to really make a difference, when it seems like there's so much going on around you that are just out of your control. It's hard to see the good that happens when you focus on what's going on directly in front of you and try to make those small impacts in your community. But they've always encouraged me as to, the fact that what we're doing really is making a difference. And they've kept me going even when I need to remind myself why I'm doing this, why I'm in this race to kindness. And it's with their support that I'm able to, keep going even through the long and hard days.
That's wonderful. One of the things I was going to ask you, and you kind of answered it, but feel free to expand on it, is as you're doing these acts of kindness in your community and you're making a difference in the people that are right in front of you, do you ever get really discouraged if you turn on the news or you're on the internet and you see the homeless population in a certain city is really expanding and there's violence and crime? Do you ever get discouraged? And if you do, other than your family, how do you get back to this cheery, wonderful self?
Great question. It's hard, to be honest, not to get discouraged. You're right. If you turn on the news for even 5 minutes, you'll see so much going on, and it's easy to feel hopeless or that, you don't have any control or the ability to make a difference. And one thing that I've had to realize the hard way is that there are some things that are just out of our control, simply. But one thing that keeps you from, staying there and just kind of wallowing in the fact that you can't make a difference is just going out and doing it instead of being in your head all the time. I remember one time I was watching the news one night and I was just feeling so hopeless and discouraged, seeing all of the things that were going on. But I remembered we had a book fair the next day. And at that book fair, I was able to give out a book to a kid who was really excited about it. And, it seems like such a small thing, but when you realize that that moment may have changed that kid's life or made that kid's day brighter or made him happier. It's the small things and the small moments that keep you going. It's the little things and seeing the impact directly that kindness and, just other things in general can make on a person's life that give you the motivation to, keep going even when it seems like things are hard. Because like I said, there are just some things we can't control, but all we can do is continue to keep the hope, keep the faith, and I said faith, but keep the faith and just continue doing our part to try to make a difference right where we are.
Do you remember the first time that you committed an act of kindness where you just felt that joy and you said, I want to do this again. I want this feeling. I want to feel this feeling again?
Yes. Well, I've grown up in a house where kindness was always the norm, with my family. Whenever we would carry ourselves through life, it was just the expectation that kindness was the norm. And I went about it that way. But the moment that really made me realize how much I enjoyed doing it was after the end of my first race, the Race to 500 Toys, when we were donating all of the toys to the local children's hospital in our area. And, because it was during the height of the pandemic, we weren't able to personally pass them out to the kids, but the nurses came down who were going to bring it up to the kids, and just seeing the smiles on their faces and hearing them tell me what an impact it was going to have on the kids, and, the fact that they had never seen a donation like this in their lives, and just seeing the joy on their faces knowing that those kids would be impacted. It was a feeling that I am always in search of to this day. It's, that warm, fuzzy feeling inside that lets you know that you've done something for someone else that they won't forget. And it's the kind of feeling that I hope that everyone gets the chance to experience. And it's the kind of feeling that really only comes from spreading kindness to others. And that's something that's always been important to me, but that moment really made me realize that I wanted to see more of that and I wanted to feel more of that.
Do you remember a time when somebody came and committed an act of kindness for you?
Yes. Well, I have to go back to that moment where my teacher sent me that email. Like I said, I had never done anything in the realm of public speaking or, any of those kinds of things. So I was very shocked when I got the email. And since and I think I left this detail, but there were less than 24 hours to submit the speech, to the contest, I was feeling a little bit skeptical about whether or not, I had a chance to win or even if I wanted to enter in the first place. But the fact that she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, the fact that she took a chance even though the odds were pretty much against me, and the fact that she continues to support all of my races to this day. She actually went to that book fair that I was just talking about that was actually only a couple of days ago. But just all of those things have really, like I said, it kept me motivated because, you can spend your whole life doing kindness and not see it reciprocated. But when you see other people doing the same, it gives you that, like I said, that feeling of hope, just knowing that other people are in this race to kindness with you. So I have to give it up for her for always caring about me and just using that moment to propel me into something that she had no idea would have happened.
Let's give her a shout out. What's your teacher's name?
Miss Musgrove, yes. Shout out to her.
All right, Miss Musgrove. Thank you. I want to make sure that we let everybody know about all the great things that you're doing and especially let people know how they can join you in this race to kindness. So are there any big initiatives going on right now that you want people to know about?
Absolutely. Well, first, I'm actually in the middle of my latest race, the Race to 1 Million Acts of Kindness. So that has been ongoing. It actually launched on Orion Jean Day in my community, which was April 12th. So that is going strong. So you can go to my website, racetokindness.com and log your kind acts, see what other people are doing. We are, at about 3,200 or somewhere around there. So we're really excited about that. Post your kind acts on social media with the hashtag 1MAK. Also go buy the book, buy it for yourself, for your friends, your family. It's available wherever books are sold, and inspire someone to join the Race to Kindness today, because you never know what impact that book or that moment might have on them, the way that speech contest and that email had an impact on me. So just, go out, start spreading kindness today, and go make a difference.
You just kind of skipped over something a minute ago, and we need to go back to it. You said, on Orion Jean Day in my community, like everybody has a day in their community. What's that all about?
Yes, it was 2 or 3 years ago? It was a couple of years ago, and I received a proclamation from Tarrant County, which was the area that I lived in at the time. And it was declared Orion Jean Day, which is April 12th. So every year, me and my family, we do a service project, and we invite our friends and our family out to, really help the community. And this year, we knew that we wanted to do another race after the race to 500,000 books. And we felt like it was really the perfect day to do it. So, we invited our friends, our family, and, different volunteers to come out to a local food bank in our community. And we launched the race there, And I think that the day itself, I like to think of it more of as a volunteer day instead of Orion Jean Day, because one thing that I've always had to remember throughout this is that this isn't about me. I'm just the vessel for this message of kindness. So I think that by spending that day, instead of going to the movies or, that kind of thing, or fancy restaurant, I want to spend the day giving back, because that is what got me here in the first place. And that is what has inspired me to keep going. And I hope to always inspire other people to keep going as well. So that April 12th is just always a reminder that kindness is something that is still very important to me, and that is something that I will never take for granted.
Awesome. I'm like you. When my birthday rolls around, I don't want anybody doing anything for me. If I can do something for somebody else, that's the best birthday gift I can get.
Agreed.
Yeah. Hey, listen, before we go, I need you to do me a favor. Because it's obvious your parents, your family, they've done an incredible job raising you and supporting you. Can you give them a hug for me, please? Just say, this old guy that I met on Zoom with a red hat, he wants to give you a hug. They'll be very upset and very concerned about it, but that's kind of fun, too. So remind everybody the website, please.
Yes, racetokindness.com. Go support and join the race today. And don't forget to post your kind acts on social media with the hashtag 1MAK.
Excellent. We've had a really great time speaking to the author of Race to Kindness. He is Time Magazine's Kid of the Year. I think we'll make you Kid of the Year for the Reading with Your Kids podcast, too. Our guest has been Orion Jean. Orion, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Hey there, families! Are you looking for an exciting way to bond and learn together? Look no further than our STEM is Family Fun video series. Join us as we explore the fascinating world of STEM through hands-on activities right in your own home. Our series features lessons from experts at renowned institutions like the San Diego Children's Discovery Museum, the National Children's Museum in Washington, D.C., and Children's Museum Houston. From making homemade rainbow bridges to creating an oboe out of a straw, there's something for everyone in the family to enjoy. So grab your lab coats and get ready for an adventure. Go to readingwithyourkids.com and click on the STEM is Family Fun link at the top of the page and let the learning and laughter begin. STEM is Family Fun, where learning and bonding go hand in hand. I know we're going to have a great time because I am looking at two guests who have these beautiful big smiles, and I can't help but smile myself. We're going to have a lot of fun. Here on the show, celebrating their brand new book, it's called It's Not That Spicy. Please welcome to the show, May and Kalili Powers. May and Kalili, how are you?
Good. Awesome. We're thrilled to be here.
That first voice you heard was Kalili, and she is the older sister of May, and they're co-authors it's not that. Did I get that relationship right, Kylie? It's an audio show. Shaking your head doesn't do anything for the people listening.
No, this is my mom.
That's your mom. Okay. Well, I can't resist. Kylie, tell us what It's Not That Spicy is all about, please.
It's like all about helping people learn about spicy foods and different cultures and to not be scared of it.
You know, I could have used that book a few decades ago when I first got married. My family is originally from Ireland, so about the only spice we had is butter on the mashed potatoes that we ate. And I married a woman from Puerto Rico. And she introduced me to all sorts of beautiful food from Puerto Rico, but also from the Caribbean and Mexico and South America. And I was really kind of scared about that spice at first, but man, I love it right now. I got a little bottle of Cholula that I put on my rice and my eggs, and it's just so great.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, our book is more focused on the Asian region.
Mm-hmm.
So it introduces folks to food from Cambodia, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, China, and Burma, as well as some spices from all of those. So it's really a retelling of Kylie's own spice journey, just because she came home one day noticing
that there was a lot of people at my old school who were scared of spicy food and they just did not ever eat it. And I was like, well, but why? And so I came home and I asked my mom, and that's how the whole thing got started.
You were like, it's not a scary monster. You don't need to hide from it. It's just something to try a little bit at a time and
see if you like it. Because after you try it, it's fine to be like, maybe something else, maybe some other hot sauce.
Yeah. You know, my father-in-law made his own homemade hot sauce. And it looked like water, but it could burn. It was always different. And there were sometimes when it was absolutely perfect and delicious. There were other times it could burn a hole in the floor if you spilled some on the floor. It was so spicy. But, yeah, it varied. And, I'd ask him the recipe, and he goes, you put a little bit of this, put a little bit of that, and, whatever you have, throw it in there. And kind of like a science experiment.
It is. So he liked to experiment with spicy sauces and maybe challenge your spice after all. Kylie eats actually spicier than I do. She started out, okay, I'll just try a little bit of black pepper, but now
I eat ghost pepper hot sauce.
Whoa, ghost pepper. Now, do you like that show? I think I see it on YouTube where the celebrities come on and they eat the chicken wings and they start off kind of meek and mellow, and then they go to burn down the house.
She hasn't seen it. I've seen a few episodes, and it's kind of like, I think it's called like Hot Topic or something. So yeah, they keep going to a hotter and hotter spice as they're put in the hot seat and asked all these questions and see how long they can last.
Yeah, it's kind of funny seeing these celebrities who are always so cool, sweating and crying and begging for milk.
Yeah.
I wonder, Kylie, in all seriousness, when you were going to school with these spicy foods and your friends were afraid of it, did some kids kind of make fun of you sometimes or make you feel bad that you were having these different foods?
No, that never happened. It was just like I had my food and no one really cared what I ate.
Well, I think if anything, Kylie was sad to be like, they're missing out, right? Like, they haven't even tried it. And so, we were just thinking, hey, people are missing out. How can we help people not be afraid of spice? Because we're just in a culture that maybe we say like, oh, don't do that. It's scary. It's too hot. And it sticks with us. We never say, okay, now it's time. And so really in our family, we always eat the same thing, and they're always seeing us adding black pepper to our food. So that's kind of how it started. And Kylie was like, hey, what's that? And she would add a little bit of black pepper. And then she realized she liked it right away. And so now when she cracks the black pepper, you have to wait a long time before it's yours.
Yeah, like sometimes I just don't use hot pepper because I want something even spicier.
Wow. That's, one of the things that I think, because Kylie, one of the things, I know you don't listen to the show because we're for adults and, you don't want to listen to this old man yap on a podcast, but we try to introduce books to parents, and help them decide whether or not they want to bring a book into their family library. I think It's Not That Spicy is a great book to start conversations with kids about spicy foods, but also about the fact that when we say Asian culture, we're not talking about one culture that's the same. We're talking about very, very different cultures. Even within a nation like China or Japan, there are very different cultures based on wherever you are in that country.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that this is a great book, and I know I'm biased on a lot of different levels because, yes, you're introducing the spice. Yes, you're introducing people to the food, which, if you look in the picture, we were intentional and actually chose pictures of the food instead of drawings because we realized it's the first introduction to food. So some people pick it up and think it's a cookbook because it has these really like mouth-watering pictures of Cambodian look-like.
That one's yummy.
Or pho or sushi. So we wanted first people to just be pleased by like, even if they have never seen it before, they might be like, wow, that looks really delicious. We describe what the foods are. You can also see that each food has the characters written in a traditional character. So even if you can't read it, it was important for us to maybe show it so that people can appreciate the beauty of other cultures and characters. So it's through this food journey, this spice journey, that we're kind of opening up the world to people to maybe be curious about it, maybe be more willing to try new things. And I think those are good lessons to learn and carry with you throughout life, just to be brave and try new things and
be open-minded.
Be open-minded. And why we focused on hot sauces is so because then the kid is in control. The person is in control. You can decide if you want one drop at first, and then if you like it, you can add more. So that was why we also focused on different spices where Kylie was in control.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Kylie, we've hosted international students in our home. So kids would come from different parts of the world to study here in Boston, and they would live, instead of living in a dorm, which is kind of boring in high school, they would come and live with a family. And so we've had kids from all over the world. We've had a number of kids from China live with us. And we had one young woman from a city in China called Zhejiang. And we took her we were going out to dinner, and on this particular night, we went to P.F. Chang's because that's a restaurant we liked. And our Sophia, that was her American name, was sitting there, and she turned to me and she said, this isn't really Chinese food. And I said, well, I know that, but she taught me how to make the most delicious dumplings, Kylie. It was, It took all day, and we went from scratch. We made the wrapper, and we chopped up the vegetables and the meat, and it was, to die for.
And that's, right, like, food is such a great way to introduce people to culture, and that story just resonates with us because actually my mom lives next door, and we have almost all breakfasts and dinners together, and even just this past weekend she was making dumplings from scratch, and we're 3 generations at the table trying to figure out how to get those dumplings to get the maximum filling but still be able to close and not pop open.
Well, I guess that's when you gotta like push it. Kind of like pottery.
Yeah, you guys are getting better at pinching the edges.
Pinch pot.
Now, do your dumplings come out pretty? Because Sophia's dumplings were beautiful. Mine were ugly. Mine tasted great, but they were pretty ugly.
I feel like it doesn't really matter what it tastes. I mean, what it looks like, as long as it tastes awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, what's your favorite? I'm going to ask both of you. May first. What's your favorite dish in the book?
Oh, that's really hard, and I think we'll both say it depends on the day, but I really do like the Cambodian loklak. It's probably one that not many people know. I'll show the picture really quick, and then I'll describe it for everyone. But it's the first cuisine that we introduce you to. So it's a bed of lettuce that's topped on with tomatoes and cucumbers, and then it's sautéed beef with a really bright gravy, if you will. So it has but a lot of black pepper, and it's just got a spritz of lime. So it just feels really like fresh, even though it's sauteed beef. But if you have that lettuce and tomato, and also that gravy is so important because it sops down in and drenches the lettuce. And when we were little, we would fight over the soggiest lettuce that soaked up all the sauce.
Awesome. What about, I know you like that dish, Kylie, but what's another great dish that's in the book? Sushi. Now, that's, we can still be friends, but I'm not a big sushi fan.
I love sushi.
Oh, that's great.
And what's the hot sauce that goes with it?
It's wasabi, which is actually part of the cabbage family.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's part of the cabbage family.
Really? Tell me, because it looks pretty. It's that green kind of looks like ice cream. In fact, that's what I thought it was the first time I tried it.
Yeah, so when you look at the actual wasabi or the plant that it comes from, it looks a little bit more like a horseradish or a green carrot, a bumpy carrot, and then they grind it on a very special board that has a rough sandpaper feel, and that's what creates that little paste.
Wow.
But yeah, we really love sushi. She's my very, 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 very expensive sushi date.
Well, when my son was 5 years old, I remember going into a restaurant and he ordered a filet mignon, which is a very expensive piece of beef. And the waiter looked at me and I'm like, get it for him, and he ate it. So it's okay to be an expensive kid.
She has already great taste. And she's proof that, just that exposure and opportunity can help people expand their palates. Because, right, a lot of families are trying to figure out, how do I not have such a picky eater? So just a lot of exposure. Yeah. A lot of chances to try things.
May, did you always aspire to be a children's author?
No, I didn't. This was definitely inspired by Kylie. She came home and we were like, well, why is that? And we were supposed to be getting ready for bed, and we always.
And then my dad came in. It was really late.
Maybe later, but we were supposed to be in bed.
Why are you guys still awake?
Because we started talking about this idea, and we just, I was like, well, how would you describe the black pepper? How would you describe this? And Kylie came up with all of these really great descriptions and imagery. And so Kylie is really the creative genius behind all the great descriptions in here. And that was the other thing. We were like, what's other words to be more specific of how to describe those flavors, so that even if you don't try it, how would you describe it? So Kylie came up with these really great imagery and descriptions, and we just started laughing, and we started picturing us on the floor drawing and starting to write stuff. And so, yeah, my husband came out of my son's bedroom thinking, okay, all should be quiet and still. It's late at night, and we're just cackling in a room.
Well, I love how that book was born. It sounds like you had so much fun, and I have a feeling that families are also going to experience that fun when they're reading It's Not That Spicy together. Kylie, I just had an experience. I'm part of a group called Clowns Without Borders, and we travel all around the world to perform for kids in disaster areas, or for kids who are migrants, or people who've been internally displaced by violence. And I spent a month in November down in El Salvador. What a beautiful country El Salvador is, and the people are beautiful, and they love spicy food. They love that chuleta, that spice, and they have a dish called a papusa, which is like a tortilla with beans and cheese and meat inside, and they put a little cabbage on top and the hot sauce, and it was wonderful. But we had a rule because the performers in this troupe came from all over the world. There's one from El Salvador, one from Spain, Guatemala, me from the United States. And one of the roles we had was don't yuck somebody's yum. So don't make fun of if you don't like it, just go, yeah, I don't want to eat this. Thank you very much. But don't make fun of other people's food. And I thought that was a really good rule.
Yeah, we definitely have that rule and use that rule. And we also say you have to have a no thank you helping. You can't just kind of say, oh, I'm not going to have it. It's not for me without even trying. You have to at least have a no thank you helping. So that's something that we have in our house.
For us, for my brother, he has to eat bites for the amount of years he's been alive.
So yeah, so it's a no thank you helping. When they were little, it was like have one. And when they became two, it was like you have to have two no thank you helping. So like 2 bites. So now that he's 6, he was like, okay, you have to have the 6 bites of whatever it is. He likes broccoli and Brussels sprouts. That's not the problem. It might be more like tomatoes. Yeah, yes, because we're a lot older.
Now, I'm curious, Kylie, do you put hot sauce on your hot dog or cheeseburger or Chick-fil-A?
Sauce on those kind of things. I do more like I don't know.
Just certain foods,
Yeah,
like some Asian foods. Some that I guess we've always eaten that way, because like with enchiladas and things like that, or rice and beans, right? Like that, eggs. There's just certain things we always do that with. But you like spicy pickles. Sometimes you'll put that on a sandwich.
Ah. I think, May, one of the great things, we talk about books being windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors, letting kids see themselves portrayed positively in the pages of books, letting kids look into another world, another culture, and also finding ways for kids to come together. I think It's Not That Spicy is a great way for a family to launch a trip around the world without leaving their kitchen, just trying a different dish, first from Asia and then picking up some books from Africa and Italy. And I just got back from Italy, and it's great. And from all over. So I love to know that It's Not That Spicy launched some of those worldwide trips for some families.
Yeah, that would absolutely be an amazing thing to hear, to say, I finally went to, Cambodia to have authentic loklok in the location because of this.
Yeah. Wow.
That'd be awesome.
So, Kylie, this is your first children's book. Are you planning on writing more?
I really want to write more books. I love writing, especially fictional stories where I get to make up whatever I want.
Very cool. Well, I want to put this invitation out here, Kylie. We're looking to create some kids content, and would we? Can I invite you to contribute a story to one of our future kids shows? I think she's shaking. Her microphone went out. I don't know if she's non-committal or she's telling me that she's going to send her agent to negotiate.
Maybe she's sending her agent. Do you want to say it louder?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see if I can write a story.
Okay. All right. Well, that's your challenge. You're challenging us to try spicy foods. I'm going to challenge you to come up with a great story that we can share with kids.
Okay.
All right. Hey, May, where can we go to find out more about It's Not That Spicy? Find out more about you, Kylie, and the whole family.
We have a website. It's called www.itsnotthatspicy.com. Over there, you'll see some pictures of the book, some pictures that Kylie drew that inspired some of the drawings in the book, a little bit about us and our favorite spices and hot sauces as well. Yeah, there's some coloring sheets from certain parts of the book. For example, how did you describe wasabi?
Wasabi is just imagine you're a little baby dragon and you're just learning to be fire out of
So we have a picture of that, and then if you go onto our website, we have some coloring sheets of some of those characters in the book that you can print out, color, lots of fun things. There's links on where you can buy it from Amazon, Bookshop, or Barnes and Noble. And, sign up if we're reaching out. We'd love to figure out ways to, introduce more people to spice. So, if there's any book events or something we can do, we're thrilled to kind of put the word out there.
Excellent. And Kylie, what do your classmates think about having a published author in their classroom?
I don't think that most of them know about it. I think my teachers are like, oh my gosh, you wrote a book. That's so exciting.
Well, we'll have to let them know. That's now that you're a published author, you need to learn how to do marketing. So we've had a great time speaking to the authors of It's Not That Spicy. Our guests have been sisters. I mean, mom and daughter, May and Kalili Powers. My friends, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us. This was a lot of fun.
Before we invite our guest into the studio, I would love to invite you to visit a very special website. It's clownswithoutborders.org. Clownswithoutborders.org. This is a group that I absolutely adore. I am part of Clowns Without Borders, and I had the honor of being part of the 2023 tour of El Salvador. I had so much fun joining with artists from all over the world to bring a smile to people who really needed it and really appreciated it too. And we would love for you to join us as a monthly Joy Maker. The Joy Makers, they're a family of people just like you who love to laugh and make other people feel good. So please take a moment and visit clownswithoutborders.org and consider joining me as a Joy Maker. Join us right now from the fantastic state of Michigan. We have a fantastic author for you tonight. She is the author of Foxtails and Foxtails 2. Please welcome to the show, Amelie Anastasia. Amelie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Those of you listening to the show might be thinking to yourself, wow, she sounds kind of young. And she kind of is. Amelie, how old are you?
I've recently turned 10 years old.
Congratulations. You know, I have socks that are older than you.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And shoes and sneakers and jeans but none of them are talented enough to write their own book like you. So tell me all about who we're going to meet in the Foxtails books.
Okay. So in Foxtails 1, you first meet Naya and Hazel, the two main characters who are just kids, and they both kind of need help, and they realize that they can help each other and kind of get even, and then they're like, but they think they're going to just separate eventually. They're going to help each other, and that's going to be it. And so they meet, and then Naya needs to find her dad. So they go to this place, and they find a female kid a little older than them, and she tells them where they can meet her dad, and they find her dad, and the dad is not sure about Hazel. But Naya explains to him that he's a good guy, he helped her, and so her dad is like, yay, you helped my daughter, yay, let's be friends. But then they realize that Hazel still needs to find his mom. So they're going about, and they finally find his mom, and then you're introduced to Hazel's mom character. And then when they get there, there's a bunch of new kids because while Hazel was gone, his mother had kids. And so now there are like all these like probably 12 kids in the litter, and so now there's a bunch of new characters that and their names hadn't been released yet. But then yeah.
Wow, that sounds exciting. A story about friendship and people coming together to help each other and becoming friends. What inspired this story?
Well, actually, when I was being homeschooled in first and second grade, there was a vixen. Is it a vixen? There was a vixen that had kits next to our house, and it was just this beautiful orange, like, fiery fox. And when she had kits, I just realized I had to expose the true reality to the world.
So tell me, what made you think at 9 years old? Because I meet so many adults who tell me, oh, I want to write a kid's books, but I'm not good enough, and I can't do that, and they find excuse after excuse to put it off. Here you are, you're 10 now, but you were 9 years old when you wrote the book, and you got it into your head that I can write a book. Where did that confidence come from?
Well, actually, I was actually 8 years old when I first.
Even more of a genius.
Thank you. But I guess I just wanted to do it because having the power to show people what kind of inspiration you can open to the world, that's a big power. And I wanted to inspire other kids to write books. So I wanted to put it out there. You can write a book. All you need is confidence and time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Foxtails 2, is this a continuation of Naya and Hazel's friendship?
Yes. Well, it focuses more on Naya and Hazel's little sister Fern. Oh, I forgot to mention one of the main characters in Foxtails 1, Snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle.
He's a golden retriever, and
right.
they come to a human house and meet him. So he's like a puppy. He's crazy.
Crazy.
But yeah.
So I understand that in addition to being a great student, a fantastic author, somebody with a really bright and beautiful smile, that you're also a very generous person. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I've been donating ever since I was 5, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 5? I made my first donation of $5 to the Little Traverse Bay Humane Society. I was at Bear Cub, I think, and my mom had given me $5 to spend on something. But I couldn't really find something I wanted. So, instead of buying something, I put it in the donation box. And ever since, I've wanted to help nature, help animals, and actually, we're having a fundraiser right now to get a nature preserve.
Wow. Now I live in the city of Boston, but I live as far away from downtown Boston as you can get and still be within the city of Boston. In fact, my yard, it's the city line. And on the other side of my yard, on the other side of the fence, is a wildlife preserve.
Really?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's mostly birds, but we also have coyotes and deer, and the most deadly creature in nature, wild turkeys. They are vicious and they attack people on the sidewalk. But so where is this nature preserve that you're trying to raise money for? Where is it going to be?
We haven't decided it yet,
Okay,
but I'll tell you one thing. Shout out to my stepsister Meaty, who helped me name it. We're thinking of naming it the Happy Place.
The Happy Place. And what kind of animals do you hope live in the wildlife sanctuary?
Well, I'm thinking more like birds, foxes, wolves, like more of deep forest theme. Like those animals I feel like need help the most because right now, unfortunately, a lot of poaching, gunning, many more things are happening all over the world, and it's really disturbing our natural ecosystems. So I'm hoping I could save help save that by creating a preserve.
I have to ask you, I've met many amazing young people, but, a lot of young people at 9, 10, 11 years old, they're thinking about cartoons and video games and thinking about, when is the next time they can sneak into their bedroom to get on TikTok which their mother doesn't know that they're on. But you are here and you're thinking about nature and you're thinking about others. Where does that sense of caring for the world come from, do you think?
I think I get it from my mom.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So she's a life coach, a doctor, an author, a lot of more things actually. But she creates these really inspiring videos.
Oh.
And I've just always wanted to be like her.
And where can we see these inspiring videos?
Her website is Talks with Dr. Schaefer. It's a really cool website.
Awesome. Tell me, Amelie, where can we go to find out more about Foxtails, Foxtails 2, and you?
So, you can go to my website, www.amelieanastasia.com. That's where the fundraiser is held. You can donate any amount of money.
We've had a great time speaking to a really fantastic young woman. Her name is Amelie Anastasia, and she is the author of Foxtails and Foxtails 2. Amelie, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome. It was an honor being on your chat.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. In the meantime, if you could, it would really help if you love reading with your kids. It would be great to leave a review on whatever streaming service, whatever platform, whatever app you heard us on. Let us know what you think about the show on the app. Give us a review. Give us a like. Subscribe to the show. We'd really appreciate it. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Chris, we're going to start by thanking our guests, Orion Jean, May and Kalili Powers, and Amelie Anastasia. I want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Chris Doherty, Rory Grady, Judy Hu. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all of her support. And most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the show. And thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.